Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today it's back into our PBEM Bonsai Challenge. And man, I'm enjoying the hell out of this game. I hope you are too. That's why I wanted to bring it up to the channel. I'm risking my reputation. No, not at all. Bonsai is an excellent Japanese player, and I wanted to show you that. What a really, really good Japanese player, how they play the game. And we're hanging in there. We're looking pretty good. I think so far. We'll see. We can't do any missteps, and we're going to talk about that this time and how this is a really well balanced game that gives you decision trees that you can go down. We'll be talking about that. But one thing Bonsai is doing that I did want to point out is, and I've never seen this in a game before, never encountered it, and I'm not exactly sure what to do about it, is he's in our convoy lanes and completely shutting down all oil going to the UK. So the UK is completely out of oil. The UK is now getting troops, it's getting transports, but we don't have any oil. And so we don't have a way to get those troops up into India, and it's causing some problems. Now, a couple of turns ago, I thought, man, we're going to be in pretty good shape in India because his advance is a little bit slower than the last time I played him, and I think we can get British troops up into Bombay in time to save India. But with no oil, you can't move your dang transports. And so, again, I mean, we're just not strong enough in the ocean at this point to go attack him navally to get him out of those convoy lanes, and it's causing a real problem. But we're okay. We're okay. Let's go look at the turn report. New Zealand's first division surrendered. Now, what's that all about? Well, if we go down to New Zealand, he did sneak around us here. I say sneak around. He was very smartly had a transport here. The minute we pulled out of Auckland, he came around, landed behind us. That's actually okay. I say it's okay. I mean, I would have rather it not happen, but we're still in okay and fine shape actually in New Zealand because this is a very strong unit. Let me get logistics off of here. There we go. This is a very strong unit. It's sitting here. It's now up to a 9 of 10 and will very quickly get to a 10 of 10 this next turn. It's a 42 anti-tank. I've got it on hold. It's going to be almost impossible for him to take this unless he brings a 7 or 10 strength unit down here to try to take it. But we're actually potentially going to counteract that this time. But we're going to talk about that. We've got an American unit here. It could either go into Wellington. Now, it would not be able to disembark into this hex because you can't disembark next to an enemy unit like that. But we could move this New Zealand, this Kiwi unit down here, disembark the American unit here, and I think he would have almost an impossible time of taking Wellington. Wellington is a national supply source, so we can sit here forever. He can come down here and try to blockade whatever he wants. And if we could hold New Zealand like that, all of a sudden everything he did here has a lot less effect. I mean, I don't want to say wasted. It's not that because it does give him a nice port, a level 5 port to get off into our convoy lanes if he wants to. But that being said, it really would stymie whatever he was trying to accomplish here, which I guess take all of New Zealand. I don't think we have to guess. But this is what I'm talking about, different decision trees. Alternatively, it would be very nice to get over here and put this American unit into Sydney. That then really starts to protect Australia. Now, Australia wouldn't be completely secure yet, but it would go a long ways to getting us there. You can see he's now interdicted Melbourne. That's a problem. That's more than a problem. It's a huge problem. Um, We'll deal with that. We'll come back to it. Let's go back to our reports. Japan invades India. That's just him bringing more units up into India. We can see now he is advancing towards Bombay, but we're in a pretty strong position. Now he's trying to, well, I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to do. He's trying to, I guess, potentially keep us from landing anything here, bringing any naval forces up here, etc. He's also pushed all the way to the doorstep of Delhi. Now, this all looks dire, but it's actually not. We're in okay shape here. We'll work with it here in just a second. Convoy attacks. He's in a million different convoy lanes here. Zero merch there, one merch here in the Indian Ocean one, another merch, zero merch, one more merch marine, one merch. He's just chipping away at our merch marine fleet. Another one here, South Pacific and India. That's where he's in another convoy attack. Here in the Indian Ocean lane, he did three more. The end result of all of that is we've got no oil for the UK, and that's becoming quite an issue. As I said, I've never really encountered that before. In retrospect, on turn one, you should take as much oil as you can and send it from the US to the UK. So that he does not have time to set up in those lanes and block them off. And you've got at least a little bit of a stockpile with the UK. Lesson learned, lesson learned. Let's go to the casualties. Okay, looks good, looks good. I mean, we've lost some Indian troops, but that's to be expected. He's really sat down in China. Now, he has reactivated some of those units out of garrison status. He just did that for a turn. I wish, I could have him explain to you. I mean, obviously, when he goes to garrison like that, he's going to save some production just doing it for a turn. I guess when it's as many units as what you have in China, it could make a difference. But it's not going to make a huge difference when you just do it for one turn. He seems to have reactivated a lot of these units, sunk ships. We're still sitting just the Prince of Wales. Now I turtle up with all naval assets. Really the Allies did not get aggressive with their naval assets until really into the spring of 1943. Now, you may say, wait a minute, what about Midway? What about the Battle of the Coral Sea? Things like that. Those were almost accidents. The Allies kind of bumbled their way through it in a way. Now, you can say, well, they won those battles. They did, but in some respects, those were dice rolls. I mean, they did not have a major advantage during those battles, and they did happen to win. Didn't hurt that they had the Japanese codes, right? But really Midway, that could have been a disaster for the Allies. So anyway, when you're playing a game like this and recreating history, you go in with the odds as they are. And really, the odds are stacked against us navally in 1942. I usually just don't do anything with the Allied naval forces until 1943. Really, sometimes not until I get the Essex class of carriers for the U.S. and the submarines have advanced past their torpedo problems. So 1943 is really, really the first time I get, unless something crazy comes up or there's obvious a chance to pick off some Japanese ships that aren't well protected. We saw that in the previous PBEM game that I played on the channel where the Axis Japanese player was a little loosey-goosey with where he sent some of his convoys or his task forces, excuse me, and we were able to pick some of those off. We were able to dictate the terms of any carrier battles that we got into. And so that's not going to be the case in this game unless we just get lucky. So, anyway, okay, let's go to the combat log for last time. We've got partisan activities out in China, no surprise there. We had land combat, and this is where that Kiwi division surrendered. Now, looking back on this whole series of events, you could say, well, you could have pulled him back from Auckland sooner towards Wellington. That is certainly a valid strategy. You take that unit back. Actually, you would set it right here, or you'd move this one over and put it in here, and then you kind of are going to accomplish the same thing we would by bringing this American unit over here. That being said, I don't think you want to give up Auckland that easily. We held him for a few turns because he had to try to figure out how to take Auckland. Now, we have lost a division, fair enough, but think I think that we did fine here. Land combat up here in India. You may remember we put a unit here. He's got a 7 combat effectiveness unit here, a large formation, if you will. And he busted in here. He took 2 losses because he was coming across the river. We took 3 and we did retreat. Now that's okay. I didn't want him to shatter, so I didn't put him on hold. Now, though, we're at the doorstep of Delhi. We're going to have to. Now, we're going to move these units around and try to get in the best shape we can for the oncoming attack into Delhi. Invasion. Now, he did take Colombo. Okay. Ground strike here. This was air, right? He's brought up a lot of air assets. India Command 1, 12th Air Division 1. So he bombed our guy here. We took one and lost. Nothing there. He tried to hit the India Command again. He also hit this first corps. We did take a point loss, so he's trying to disrupt this. Now, I don't think he has enough strength to knock that unit out. This is the third place we could bring that American unit. We could put it through the whirligig, through to India, land in Bombay, and put a unit here. But we do have a new Indian unit this turn, so maybe not. Maybe not. Land combat, he did try to hit here. We took two more points in loss. He took one. Okay, he had 2-to-1 odds. He was coming across the river here. So, in retrospect, for him, he attacked across the river this way and across the river this way. I'm not sure that was the most efficient way to go about that. But he did push us back a little bit. For the current turn, we've got partisan activity in China. We didn't talk, I realized we didn't talk about China last time. I really didn't move anything, so you didn't miss much. Convoy attack. This is where all of those convoy attacks are going on out here. He's all over us in the convoy lanes. Where was the most damage? It was this one here. You can see he's got light cruisers, destroyers. He's got a couple of battleships, or 3 battleship squadrons, and a light carrier. Now, this is the kind of setup you could see where if we know where his main carrier fleets are, we could send our carriers over here and try to scrap it out with them. He's too smart for that. I guarantee you his carriers are close enough to get there very quickly, and we would be in quite a bit of problem there. Okay, so that was the combat log. We've got things to deploy. Unfortunately, with the Brits, they don't have any oil to do anything with them. It's just, I've never been in this situation before. So we've got one division on the transports. We'll put the next division down. We may combine these two actually, so that when we finally get some oil through, we can do, we've got a nice strong unit here. We should have 20 in transports by then. Right now we've only got 10. We've also got the Valiant battleship. We'll deploy that right here with the Ramillies, so we can't move those either. As you can see, next turn we will bump up and we'll have 20 transports instead of our current 10. So we could put these two together, make them a small core, 20 strength points, and we would have enough to carry them somewhere. The U.S. 77th Division, and it's also got those two comments um, that we're just sitting on for now. Now, we are getting to the point where it's possible there might be someplace you want to put those. Uh, and you can see, be careful. The game automatically brings that up as the next thing to deploy. So just get off of that. Don't, I've had that happen too many times where I mistakenly got those on the map and didn't want them there. In China, April 30th, we, have an army on the way, so China is starting to build some stuff. The Australians now have a new division ready to deploy just in time. That's excellent. Canada, you can see here, is building landing ships for the UK. That's nice of the Canadians to do for their former masters. Communist China, no. India, we have a new division, so we'll come back to that. That's going to be incredibly helpful. Now, there's 2 different spots we can put it, obviously, Bombay or Delhi. And we'll go about figuring out where the best spot to put that is. On the war panel, UK can do nothing this turn. US cannot either. I think maybe this turn, we may try to break their codes as the US or break them somewhat. UK, everything here stays the same. You can see an amphib. We're really cranking along here. We'll get that up to 1942. For the U.S., looking good, looking good. We're bringing those assaults up to a 1942 so they can actually do some dang damage. Carrier operations moving along towards a 43. You really don't want to bring your carriers out. Now I've been talking about that timing a lot because it's probably the most important decision you make in the game. You certainly don't want to bring them out out until the carriers are up to a 43 level. You just don't even have a chance against the Japanese until that's the case. Soviet Union, China. Okay. Convoys, we're going to keep trying to pump some oil through here to the UK. We're just, zero, zero. We're not getting anything through. The U.S. now building a nice oil stockpile, but we just can't send it anywhere. And of course, it's the U.K. is the only place that doesn't have any oil. I guess that's true for communist China too, but they don't need any. Um, let's look at the build. Now, as you can see, it's costing, or it would cost 11 upkeep here for the Brits. They're cranking out 2 oil. It's interesting. I'm just wondering with the oil, if I bring that down to 0, oh gosh, I just need, I, how much oil do transports even use? I think their use is the division use, so it's 1 point. Um, I don't dare get off reinforce. We'll get something through eventually. We'll see. The Brits don't really have enough to build anything this time. The U.S. 142. We may build one more transport, but we're finally getting there. And the U.S. will get more transports next turn. I say more, one more grouping of them of 10. The Soviet Union, okay, it doesn't matter. China back down to a 36. Australia is getting close enough to build, getting close to building another division. The communists are up to 103. It's always nice when you get that next communist division. And the Kiwis, nothing to do here. I've got it all on upkeep to get that one unit that we have left down there. One land unit anyway. We still got an air unit to get it in there. All right, so let's go to the map, and here's the big decision. Do we take this U.S. unit? Do we put it into Sydney, which starts to make our situation in Australia really, really, strong? Um, Now we are getting a new Australian division as well, and so we could make it really strong this turn. Or do we go down here and just make sure he can't take New Zealand? Oh, I go back and forth, and I've gone back and forth a million times on this. All right, so what are the considerations here? Well, if we look at this situation, there's 3 different places we can take this American unit. We could take it to New Zealand and try to hold on to Wellington. Now, this American unit will not be able to disembark here. It can't go on to a beach type hex like this from a disembarkment here. It won't spit it out there. Um, that means this New Zealand unit will have to move down here, the Kiwi unit. It's actually a better unit. It's a 42 anti-tank. It's doubly dug in, pretty strong. Um, Now let's look and see what he's got here. He's got an SNLF unit. He's got a large formation. He's got a small formation. And he's got something we don't know what it is. But he does have air power down here that will try to interdict us coming into Wellington. So that is a risk. If he hits that for 6 points, our Goose is cooked here in Wellington. Beef Wellington. No, Goose Wellington. Um, and so, do we want to keep, well, of course we want to keep New Zealand, but let's go look at the other options. We could also come in here to Australia. Now we're in trouble in Melbourne, but really the whole ball game in Australia is Canberra to Sydney. The reason is well, they're very close together, but Canberra is your one national supply source in Australia. Sydney, you got to have a port to bring troops in. So you need to keep a port and a national supply source. Now in Australia, it's kind of weird because the two aren't the same. You don't have a port that is a national supply source. So you got to try to keep these 2 locations. We're going to try to keep Melbourne, but in the grand scheme of things, if we lose Melbourne, all hope is not lost as long as we hold these 2. Now we're in a little better shape in Australia, I feel like, than we are in New Zealand or India. because he's gonna all of his attention's gonna be down here to try to take Melbourne first, then move up here. Now we're getting a new Australian unit this time. We'll try to combine it with something else and build that up. Now, if we go to India, we could put that American unit through the whirligig, pop it out here, and try to come into Bombay. Now, this is super risky, right? Because he could try to interdict this with a lot of different air assets, and so trying to get up into here is going to be tough. I would do it with the Brits, but unfortunately the Brits have no oil. In India, it's all about Bombay and Delhi, and it's the same situation almost that we talk about in Australia with Canberra and Sydney. But here, luckily, Bombay is also a national supply source. So as long as we hold on to Bombay, we can get troops in and we can supply our troops despite any kind of blockade or interdiction. The problem with India, and this is why I say this game is brilliant, um, and the decision you have to make is that Delhi up here is the only place you can place down Indian troops. And so we get a new Indian unit this time. If we didn't have Delhi, we could put it over here in Bombay. So I guess that's not true. Let's go and look at India. Let's see if we want to deploy this 23rd Division. Yeah, we can put them down in Bombay. Okay, well that I got a little confused there. Actually, then Bombay becomes so important when it comes to India. It becomes the important thing. But if we did put that unit down here, there's no other places then to put down Indian troops if we lost Delhi. So we're going to try to hold on to both of them. We're going to combine some of these units and whatnot. But I think because they're getting reinforcements in India, they're getting reinforcements in Australia, that ultimately the best place to try to take this is to Wellington. I say confidently, not really. It is a risk because he has that air unit here. But let's go ahead, give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Come on, baby. Yep, he missed us. Okay, that's good. When he's only got one air unit out here, you've probably got about a two-thirds chance of making it through, I would say. I'm just spitballing that, but that's kind of been my experience. So we'll move the Kiwi unit out because if we look at the American unit and we try to disembark, there's no valid heck. We can't just skip over here. He's got to disembark in Wellington. I've had that problem. The reason I know that is that's caused me a problem in the past. All right, so we're going to give up our entrenchment level, which I hate to do. And this is a better unit than the American unit, but the American unit at least is elite. And by getting in here to Wellington, that keeps him from being able to come at us from two hexes. He'll switch places. That large formation will bang away at the U.S. formation. We are going to put that on hold and try to hold on to Wellington. Was that the right decision? I don't know. I don't. We'll figure that out in the autopsy of this game. Okay, down to India then, and let's just look and see what we've got. We've got a new counter we can put down on the map. We've got an infantry corps small that's 42 anti-tank here. We'll look at the logistics situation very quickly. One step out of town, not on the rail, is a 6. On the rail, we've got two 9s. We've got 8 out of 10. That's 42 anti-tank. We've got 7 out of 10. That's 42 assault. We've got another 42 anti-tank here. That's a 20 out of 20. So, I mean, we could potentially put this in here and make this an incredibly strong unit. Um, I don't want to give up this hex if I don't have to. He's building up. He'll be a 10 of 10. It's hard. It's going to get hard for him to supply some of these places. Now, he does have rail out to here, out of Madras, as we go all the way up here, even though our partisans have actually broken that rail line a little bit. So that's helpful. I think we're just going to sit here for now. Now, I have them all as a hold. These two banging into him is going to be, hopefully he can hold up to that. As we come around here, then let's look at these units. We've got a 1942 assault unit that's coming onto the map. Okay, we've got 42 anti-tank. That's a 20 out of 20. We've got a 42 assault. Okay, we've got a 42 assault here. Okay. And we've got a 42, another 42 anti-tank. That's a 10 out of 10 for the anti-tank. Um, okay, so I think ultimately I want this 42 anti-tank to be in Delhi. Now we are going to be giving up some uh, entrenchment level there. That is one problem. I don't know. I hadn't quite worked this out exactly in my mind how we were going to do this. Um, 42 assault. Again, that's a 10 of 10. 42 anti-tank is a 10 of 10. Um, that would cost. Okay, let's take logistics off. Logistics don't matter that much this time. He could back up 42 assault, and we're bringing an assault in to on the map. Where can we deploy this again up here for right now? It's every hex in and around Delhi, but the only one that's open is here. Obviously, none of these are open, but we're in these hexes, right? Um, hmm, hmm. Decisions, decisions. I think I'm going to switch these two to begin with. What is this again? 5 out of 10, then we'll have a 10 out of 10. This is assault, this is anti-tank. Okay. How far can he go? He could come all the way to this hex, which is interesting. He could. Hmm. If we move this unit back, all right, let's try to deploy again. India, deploy. We could put the assault in there with him and with him. I think that's what we do. Um, okay, let's try that. I think that's the best way to structure this. Now, I'd rather have it be anti-tank defensive in here, but sometimes you don't have such luxuries. So let's deploy. That is a 10 of 10 going down. That's a very strong unit into Delhi. Okay. Now then, we've got another. So let's check that. Yeah, 42 assault. Now let's try to combine into there. Perfect. 5. And then we've got another 42 assault, and they can all combine. Yes, that worked out perfectly. And he keeps his entrenchment level. Now we just move. Now he's not entrenched, and he's only a 10 of 10. But you know, I think this is the best way that we could have structured that. So he goes in here. Again, he's an anti-tank. He's at 42 anti-tank, a 20. But now we've got a 25 out of 30 here. We're going to put them on hold. These guys, I guess I would allow to retreat if they needed to. And we've got the headquarters back here to give them all headquarters support. I think that worked out as well as we could have hoped. Um, yeah, I like that. I like that setup. So we got the strongest unit in Delhi. It's going to be very hard. I don't care what he brings up here to push up a 20 or push out a 25 or 30 out of Delhi. And then we've got, a 10 of 10. So this is as strong as of a division as we could have. And then we've got a 20 of 20 here to try to hold on to this flank around Delhi. We just can't let him get all the way around us. Then we would eventually lose Delhi at that point. Talking about supply, he's actually is going to be getting it up and out of Calcutta. Um, Okay, yeah. So, ultimately his supply situation's out here is fine now because he does have Calcutta. Okay, now let's go to Australia, which also presents us with a little interesting situation. Now, this unit's down to a 5 of 10. He's a 7 of 10. I think we have to combine these two. Now, why do I say that? Well, this unit's just going to shatter this unit next turn. So any, ability we have to not allow this to get surrounded kind of doesn't matter because he's going to shatter. So I think we put those two together. Now they're only a 12 of 20. They're going to get, blasted out of here, but it may take an extra turn. I think we'll also bring light cruisers and destroyer squadrons here to try to deal with this sub. All right. So what do we have out here? We have a 39 anti-tank, a 39 anti-tank. Well, that's the headquarters. 41 assault, 39 anti-tank, and 39 anti-tank. Up here, 39 anti-tank. Imagine that. Now I'm tempted to go ahead and just give up Brisbane. I hate to do it, but by the same token, I would like a stronger unit. I'd like to combine these two into a stronger unit. Now the deployment that we have here, if we go to Australia, we have an infantry division. That's going to be a 1942 assault division. Um, Okay, so if we were going to combine it with anything else, we'd want to do it with another assault division, obviously, which would be this one. This is a 41. They can spend some production and combine together, which means we could take this anti-tank, move it back this way. Um, we could even move this over here and combine it with it, get off the flank of it, and move this 39 anti-tank down here. Do that, or I could also move um, this 39 tank. Oh, I think that's what I'll do. I think that's what I'll do. I'll have this 39 anti-tank come here. I'll have this unit come and combine with it, and then I'll have that one come down to Newcastle. I think that's the best way to do it. Now, if we look at deployment for the Australians, where can they deploy? Well, all in and around Canberra. Okay. Now it's going to be a zero. Now it could deploy there as well. Let's actually, how far can you go? See, I'd like to move this on the rail. To, now, let's take that off the rail, actually. Let's take that off the rail, actually. That's only 1 point to there. That's 5 points. Um, He's only a 4 of 10. Let's move him, and he's a 39 anti-tank. Do I have enough production, I wonder, to combine him with a 41 assault? That's the real question. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's move him there for now, and let's deploy the Australian unit. All right, ready? Deploy on top of a mountain. Okay. Now then, let's see if we've got enough production. I think we should. Yes, he combines in there. And he's a 39 assault now, so he will have to build up. Question whether that was too. Well, it's too late to cry over it now. I think ultimately maybe bringing this, now that's only a 5 of 20 though. I think ultimately maybe bringing that one up there would have potentially been the better play. Um, Now then, I think if we put this guy on, so I think we can move this guy out of Newcastle. Do I want to give up Brisbane? It's only a level 4 port. I feel like sometimes people give more importance to some of these Australian ports out here than are needed. You really only have to hold this. I mean, this is the important one. Um, 3, 7. We just can't lose Canberra. That's a 14 of 20 now. Gosh, that's a 5 of 20. We got to get that built up as fast as we can. That's the ball of wax right there. We will get more Australian units as we look here. We get another one April 16th. Well, that's a month. Then we get one April 30th. So we're going to have to hold on here for a while. Now, we will get more U.S. troops in here, which will be helpful. Um, hmm. Okay, I'm thinking out loud here. He's only a 5 of 10, and he's only a 4 of 10. I think I will go ahead and just give up Brisbane. Now, that does allow you to get. The one reason I don't want to do that is if I just give him that really quickly, he's now got supply coming down out of all of these ports. As is, if I make him come down here and fight for it, you know what? I'm going to leave that as is this time. I'm hemming and hauling back. Apologies. I don't play these turns beforehand. It just I have to think it out as we go. He's now out at Canton, which I find interesting. He's out here with just one ship. Um, we could come over here and try to disrupt that. Did he get up to Midway? No, he did not. I'm not too worried about Canton Island. I'm not going to, risk anything, but I am going to risk sending. Okay, this is all the partisan activity, all of our warnings. I am going to send. Let's get off of everything. Don't want to send out all those carriers. Cruiser destroyer squadrons. I'm going to send out these three. Oh, the UK doesn't have any oil. It's got to be US units. There we go. Those three. I'm going to send them through the whirligig to Australia. And when they come through next time, we're going to go attack those subs off Melbourne and try to help with that situation anyway. I'm not sure if we can lift that or not, but we're going to send them through. Wait a minute. Was that? Why did that show as British? I don't know. I don't did it? I don't know. It looked yellow with it, but it can't be. Those were all U.S. Units. Okay, so this is where we sit in New Zealand. This is how we're sitting in Australia. It's precarious, but now that we've dumped this U.S. unit off, next turn we can put more U.S. units on. If we look at our transport situation right now, it doesn't matter what the Brits have; they don't have any oil. Next time, March 21st, we'll be getting the Hornet, a new carrier. We'll be getting a landing ship. We'll be getting a transport all next time, and then the turns after that, as you can see, we just keep adding transports, adding transports. So Australia, this is going to have to do it. He's going to weaken considerably as he's interdicted, but we'll bring those units through and we're going to go try to attack these subs. This is all set up, I guess, how I would want it. India, this worked out quite well, I think. Again, it's a little bit of a risk not to have this on hold. This unit may get shattered this time. I'm kind of worried about that, but these are two stronger units. If we can keep moving this around to keep him from getting completely surrounded, maybe we can hold on. We shall see. Out here, this still looks fairly strong. At the moment, we'll see if this unit has to back up. We've got some problems. I could try to combine these two. I mean, that's certainly an option. Um, it's 4 to there, then I could combine in this way. I hate to get off the rail though. That's what concern. I just, I'm scared to get off the rail. But putting these two combined up here, 8 of 10, 7 of 10 would be 15 of 10 in a jungle hex. Oh, I just feel like these isolated on their own will eventually get chewed up. It's 42 anti-tank and 42 assault. I'm not even sure we have enough production to put those two together. I'm going to leave it as is this time. He's 42 anti-tank. I mean, I could combine him in there. It's 20 of 20. That would take me up to 28. But that does allow him to get surrounded by 5 different, from 5 different directions. He's only got 3 units out here. Um, I'm going to leave that as is this time. But those are the kind of decisions, that keep you up at night. Seattle, Astoria, okay, we're not doing anything. I mean, we don't have any transports. I'd love to stick him on a transport. The next one coming out is this unit here out of Morro Bay, U.S. 117th Garrison. I'm going to rename that. I want this to be the X Division. Okay, it sounds very mysterious. The X Division, or the 10th Division if you'd rather. We've also got Marines that we can take out at some point here. We've got air power. Speaking of which, let's go to the build queue. The UK can do nothing this time. The US sitting on 142. Now, if we look at our deployment for the US, how many transports we have left, that are going to come off the presses. We get this one next time. That'll put us on 20. So we can actually put 2 divisions through next time. One will probably go to India and one will probably go to Australia. That's part of the reason I went to New Zealand this time. Um, 10 and 10. So 10 transports, 10 landing ships. Okay, 10 and 30, 20 and 30, 20 and 60, 30 and 60, 30 and 80, 40, 50, 60, 70 and 80. All right. 80 and 80, 90, 100, 110. So we've got 110 transports in the queue at this moment. I think we'll do one more. Now, I said up to 150. That's true. We can build a few more later. At this point, though, I think we'll stop, and then now we're going to start building infantry units, which we're going to need to cover some of these hexes. We'll start building air units. It's really just infantry and air. I don't ever build anything naval. It's already all in your queue. There's really no reason for you to have to do it unless you lose something or lose a lot of things, I would say. And in that case, you probably lost the game anyway. Um, no, oh shit, I keep forgetting about the dang shipyards. Two. Now those will free up, so we'll have to build the transport next time. This time then, for 142, we'll have to build an infantry division because we need 144 for the core small. So we'll build an assault infantry division. There we go. Soviet Union, China, Australia, the Australians we may kick up for reinforcement and upgrade a little bit. Canada, because they're going to start coming under fire here very quickly. The Communist Chinese, India, we've got a lot of that on upkeep right now. New Zealand. All right, nothing we can do there. And I think that's going to do it. This will be an interesting turn. I want to see if he's going to continue on trying to pressure us at all here in New Zealand because he may see this situation and say, wow, I'm not sure there's anything I can do about this. There's no place to land. There's no other place to go. This is the only hex he can get into to attack into Wellington. And every turn that goes by, we will be digging in. And this U.S. Unit should be advancing. It's a 39 assault right now. Not great. Melbourne, if he brings this big unit here, he's got us surrounded on three sides. We may be able to hold for a turn. We will come and try to break this just mainly because this is an easy way for us to maybe destroy some subs. It's not even necessarily about keeping Melbourne. I think Melbourne might be lost at this point. We've got this set up as well as we could have it set up. We're going to get more Australian units. We'll get Americans through the whirligig next time to come up here. One to go here, maybe even two to go here. It just depends whether the British get any oil. If we go to China, I said that's going to do it. I forget China every time, but that's because I'm just sitting here in China. I'm not moving at all. It's kind of the kind of thing like, you see those nature documentaries where the deer or the antelope is just sitting there and he's waiting for the lion, or the cheetah to move before he takes off. And he's like, maybe he won't see me if I don't move. That's what I'm doing in China. There's not one damn thing I'm going to move here. We're just going to wait and we're going to see where he starts trying to push. Um, and when he does that, we'll try to react. But the more we can dig in, hey, great. Let us dig in. Let's do it. Let's do it. Now, the only thing I do worried about is getting isolated right here, but he's doubly dug in a very defensive spot. Now, if he does push here, we could potentially get cut off, and so we would have to back up and back out. Um, but I don't want to put him in a less defensible hex here if I can help it. Us attacking here is not really an option. Even surrounding him three ways, we've got bad odds. I'm sure this is where he's going to try to go this time. We could go about that a different way, though. We could bring the cavalry up here, but I'm not sure that's really strong enough. Although it is stronger than the headquarters, but the headquarters is doubly dug in. Um, Hmm. Do I dare? I don't think so. I think I'll just leave it as is, as I said. Okay, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.